majesty. And then from the depths of your mind and your wild imagination, with only dust, hands, and bread, you formed your image bearer to be wild like you. You are untamable, you are unexplainable, wilder than the wildest eyes have seen, deeper than the oceans and higher than the mountains. Lord, won't you please plant me where the wild things grow? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, I have never been ashamed enough to please fearful men. I never fit well in their boxes. Oh, I have questions with no answers, a song that's never been sung, and a thirst unquenchable. But you are my satisfaction, 'cause I am wild like you. You are untamable, you are unexplainable, wilder than the wildest eyes have seen.
Are what we're willing to dream for. And let me tell you that if you're thinking, well, one day I'm going to have the farm, and one day I'm going to be able to quit the job, and one day I'm going to have more time to pay attention to my kids, and one day I'm going to be able to have that. You can live your whole life waiting for one day. Instant, you know, and then it's like, oh yeah, that makes a great story. It was a couple weeks later we actually found our house. We weren't looking. My dad asked me to give him a ride one day, and I ended up passing this house, and he said, hey, you should look into that, which that house didn't work out, but it led to another one. And it was one of those things. It was just one of those things where one thing led to another, and the next thing we knew, we had bought this house. It was a foreclosure, badly vandalized, completely unlivable. The money that we needed just happened to come through at just the right time. I mean, it was one of those things. It's the only thing I know how to tell you. And the whole time that we were hoping that this house was going to come through for us, I kept leaning on Ephesians 3:20, that God will do infinitely more than we might ask or think. That he'll do infinitely more than we might ask or think. And I would think, God, I really, really want this house, and I know if this is you, I know nothing can stop it. So we closed on the house. It was about this time, 5 years ago, we closed on this house. And we worked our butts off. I don't think he slept for like 10 days or something, because we were trying to get all these repairs done so we could move in and escrow and all that stuff. We get it all done, miraculously. The money's there, the loan goes through. It's just crazy. Even the lady where we're signing the papers, she's like, somebody upstairs must want you to have this house because this is nuts. This deal is nuts. And I'm like, yeah, I know, it is. And we're moving, April 27th, 2014, we're moving into this house. And we got the U-Haul, we have the friends, we have the borrowed truck, everything is in there. I'm like, it's here, my homestead, my dream, the dream of my life. Here it is. We unload the U-Haul, we're grilling the hot dogs, we're gonna feed all the people, and the sirens start going off. And, you know, everybody take cover, we have a basement, we all go in the basement. But this wasn't one of those storms. You know, you grew up in Arkansas, you're used to storms. You know, you can blow it off. I mean, I had memories growing up of storms, and it was never that scary. Mom was always a little freaked out, but, you know, we just hung out in the bathtub with the mattress over us, and that was fun. It was like making a tent. And so, to me, it was not a big deal. We have all these people that are helping us move, like 35 people at our house. U-Haul still in the driveway, barely got everything out of it. And we realized this storm is going to hit. And it didn't hit my house. It hit about 3 miles from it. And one of my best friends lived out there. She had 2 little boys the same age as my sons at the time. They were 7 and 8. And they were my son's best friends. And they were supposed to come help us move, but we didn't need the extra help. We had so many people that showed up. And so we told them, don't worry about it. And her sons died that night. We couldn't get a hold of her. And so Maya, because we live so close to them now, we just moved down there, super excited, we're gonna be neighbors. And he ran down the road to check on them, and he actually found these boys. And my friend ended up living, she ended up able to walk, she was in a wheelchair for a while. But this crazy thing happened, where my dream, which used to be impossibly big, became insignificantly nothing in light of eternity. And that week, my friend April, from her hospital bed, having lost her sons, proclaimed the goodness of God. She wouldn't back off of it. Everybody's like, she's done, she's ruined, she'll die. Like, I mean, who could live when you lose a child? Both your children, all your children. And she proclaimed the goodness of God, and she wouldn't back off of it. And here I am. I didn't know if I could proclaim the goodness of God. Now, sure, he had just made my dream come true. The biggest and the greatest thing that I had ever asked God for. He made it come true, and then within 30 minutes, it felt meaningless. So April blew my mind talking about the goodness of God, and I actually left the hospital after talking to her and realizing that because she was anchored in eternity, she was going to be okay. And my mind was blown because I couldn't fathom it. I could not manage to say God is good. Danny talked earlier about being angry and how God actually can handle that. He can handle our anger even at him. And I was mad. I really was. I was mad. And I went home and my mind's reeling. How is this lady saying this? How is this going to be okay? And I wrestled it out. And I don't know if you've ever had a wrestling night with God. But if you have, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that was a wrestling night with God. And at about 4 that morning, I got up, I went to my kitchen table, and I started to write an article. And I published it. You know, I stopped at one point, made some bowls of cereal, nursed the baby, you know, probably loaded the dishwasher. Just completely normal life. And I tell this story about this woman whose kids died, but God was still good. Like, and actually, oh my God, this is for real. He's still good, even with this. And I pressed publish on this article for my blog. I mean, I've written on my blog like 30 times in 5 years. Like, I'm the worst blogger in the world. The fact that I have a YouTube channel I actually post on is a miracle. Like, you've got a lot to do. And here I am, this infrequent blog that nobody really reads. And I shared on Facebook one time, and by the next night it had 2.9 million hits. Was on the front page of Yahoo. Like, I'm talking like viral, not like just a little bit, but like the Associated Press is knocking on your door in the middle of nowhere, and you just moved there, and you don't even know how they know your address, like that kind of viral. And so within a week, April's kids could never be given back to her. But within a week, the internet had raised $300,000 to give to them so that they wouldn't have to be without a home, that they wouldn't have to be without their stuff. And all these people are learning about the goodness of God, and they're getting saved, and these crazy testimonies are coming in, and we're shell-shocked, and we're just like, what? We haven't even unpacked into our dream come true. And that weekend after, I went out to photograph the rubble of her house, her street. It was gone. The whole street was gone. And her house was on a slab, and it was just gone. It was like a 4-bedroom brick house. This was a big tornado. And I was standing where her son's room had been. Like, and I had been in this room like a week before. Like, my kids stayed over there, and I went to pick them up and went in his room and was showing me something. And I'm standing there, and I'm looking out on this valley. And what they're doing to clean it all up is they're just piling this stuff up in these monstrous piles, and they're burning it because it's ruined anyway. You know, they're going through looking for like mementos and photos and stuff, but for the most part, it's just ruined stuff. And so they're burning these massive piles, and there's like a boat, like a nice boat. I mean, like that set somebody back. some money, and it was sitting in the middle of this field. And boats out of water is just a weird thing. It's not in the right place. And so it's in the field, the cars, the houses are gone, the burning piles of things that everybody he worked for their whole lives. And I'm just standing there watching it, and I'm looking around, and I'm taking it all in. This moment was one of the most marking moments of my entire life. And I still remember the smell of it, the smell of what it smells like for people's whole lives to be burning in piles with a boat next to it. And I'm sitting there smelling it, and I'm looking at it. And I had this thought, this audacious thought. I could dance here on the foundation of this dead boy's room, in the middle of everything people have worked for, burning in piles. I could dance here because this is not all it is. This is not the end of the story. Right here is not the end of the saddest place I've ever been. It's not the end of the story. And my life changed in that moment, in the saddest place I have ever been. The saddest thing I've ever seen, the most hopeless feeling I've ever felt. Do you know what it's like to lay your babies in bed and put them to bed? When you know it could have been them. It's awful. Fear's going to eat you up in that moment, or it's not, and you got a choice to make. But when I realized I can dance here in this sad place, I can live past this, there's more than this. Something changed in my mind. And I was no longer living in a temporary situation. Because let me tell you, if that was a temporary situation, forget about it. That was the end. Close the book. You don't move on past that place. But it wasn't. It was chapter 3. It wasn't the end. There was still so much more. Since then, it's been 5 years, 5 incredible years. There's been sadness. Very sad things. Traumatic things, hard things. But not the end. No end pages have been lived between then and now. And no end pages will be lived between now. There isn't one. There is no the end page. Because of Jesus.